30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee, featuring Tennessee Radio Hall of Famer George Plaster, Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame coach Watson Brown, and young guns Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in. Kind of a weird Monday. I mean, we're now in the middle of June, and it's like mid to upper 60s outside. It's absolutely crazy. But nonetheless, it is still better than winter, and we welcome all of you in. We got a good show today. Very much looking forward to talking with one of my favorite people in the whole world to talk sports with, and that's Duke football coach, former Duke football coach, David Cutcliffe. He'll be with us in about 15, 16 minutes. Let's head to Murfreesboro and say hello to Kelly Holcomb. Kelly, how are you?
I'm doing well, George. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Appreciate your concern.
I see my shirt's all messed up. Thanks for telling me. That's great.
Well, you know, if you sleep in it, that's what's going to happen.
Well, I don't sleep in it. I'm just saying. I mean, I could get a little help from you guys there at the studio. I mean, you know, you look nice, and I'm looking kind of ragged right now. So, sorry. Yeah. I'll clean it up.
I guess what I would say is sort of take control of your life.
You're mad at me because I've been on you before we came on the air because you need to like go walk or do something.
Right.
Like think about getting your heart rate up at some point in your life. I mean, can we do that at least once?
What is going on with you? What is this kick about?
I don't know. I'm just saying. I mean, I enjoy doing this show with you, man. I mean, you've got good genes, obviously. You're Greek. Your parents lived a long life, but I like get in the weight room or like walk or do something, you know? Just looking out for you.
Weight room.
Just looking out for you.
Okay, thank you.
If you put George on a bench, Kelly, how much do you think he could actually push?
I think he could get the bar. I do think he could get the bar. I don't know if you could put
That's 45 pounds.
Maybe 2.5 pounds on each side or 5 pounds on each side. He might be able to get that.
Billy, where do you think this is all coming from?
You know, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of building up here in the last couple weeks or so.
But I'm
just concerned for a friend. You know what I'm saying?
Really? That's so touching.
I don't know about the weight room, but maybe a walk here or there. I think that's a better place to start.
Yeah, so Billy's on board now too.
Well, I'm saying if that's a better place to start when Kelly says weight room. I don't know about weight room.
Yeah, I mean, if he thinks I'm getting in the weight room, he's out of his mind.
It's never too late, man. You got to give your muscles some resistance. I mean, do something. Okay. Do something other than sticking a fork to your mouth.
This has been.
What was it a friend of mine said? Mix in a salad.
Yeah, mix in a salad. Push away from the buffet at some point.
Right.
We are all.
Or as David Cutcliffe told me when I asked him last summer, how'd you lose all that weight? He said, my cardiologist told me if it tastes good, spit it out. To me, it was the line of the year.
That was a great line.
Yeah. We're looking forward to having him on. So, Billy, you had a nice weekend?
I did.
That's great. Thank you.
How was yours?
It was the same.
It was great.
It was fabulous.
Kelly's rubbing off on us. We're getting short
with each other. I'm afraid of that. I'm worried about it.
Watson's going to come back all mild-mannered.
The level of negativity that Kelly brings. You know,
negativity.
No, a lot of it, Kelly, listen closely. Your glass is completely empty. It's not half empty. It's certainly not full. It's completely empty.
I just don't buy into that, George. I mean, I tell the truth. I mean, and that's seen as negative in society now. So, I mean, I'm sorry. I grew up in a locker room. I enjoy busting people's chops. I like that. And you know what? The good thing about it is y'all got big shoulders, so y'all can take it. There's a lot of people that can't.
Right. I'm not bothered by it.
I'm sure.
I'm used to it.
That's why I do it.
Yeah.
bothered by it at all.
No, I think you have been rattled a couple of times. I think you've taken on some water at times with Kelly that you may not have been ready for at the beginning.
Not at the beginning.
No.
George, you tried to warn him before I came on the air.
Did.
There's no preparing.
This Holcomb youngster, he's out there. So let's check in with David Wilson, who apparently thinks he's kindred spirits with Kelly.
I'm going to come to Kelly's defense. I've had numerous people who watch the show who say they love Kelly and they wish he would stay for the rest of the year. So Kelly's got some fans.
Does he?
So
yeah. Let's go. Call for a raise, George. I need a raise.
Okay. Can you name those 4 people?
Should I throw their name out on there?
Sure. Why
But
not?
I think
don't do that.
Kelly's World of Football, as you said, it makes ripples in the community.
Yeah.
They love
look,
it.
I mean, I think people have been clamoring for this crap.
And they'll get it today. So
Well, they will, as a matter
we'll
of
see
fact.
what Kelly has in store for us. But
Is there an update anytime in our future?
There is, George.
Really?
And we start
With the NBA Finals. Yeah.
No.
Let me tell you what's going on.
No, we're starting with the Super Regional Weekend.
Are we?
A little college baseball.
Oh, okay.
So game 1s of the College World Series so far, Wake Forest will play the winner of Stanford and Texas. That they'll play later tonight.
This is on Friday.
Well, they haven't
Starting College World Series begins on Friday.
Yes, the College World Series starts Friday.
Stanford and Texas play tonight
At
in their
7
third
o'clock.
and final.
Mm-hmm. And then Southern Miss and Tennessee play at 5 o'clock as well. The winner of that will play LSU at some point this weekend.
Does Tennessee have enough pitching left in the tank
Yes.
to get this done?
Yes. I think the question is, does Southern Miss have enough pitching?
Tell me what Tennessee's plan is.
Well, Tennessee's plan is they're going to start Drew Beam, their day 3 guy all season. He's been a little inconsistent this year, but they can rely on him. They still have Chase Burns available out of the bullpen as well. He only pitched 10 pitches yesterday, and he is a weapon, absolute weapon out of the bullpen. So I would assume you see him a little bit. They still got most of their bullpen left, so they're in good shape. The ball's in their court. I mean, yesterday was Southern Miss's chance, I think, to take Tennessee down, and they didn't take advantage of it. So I think Tennessee has a slight edge, but we'll see. It's baseball. I mean,
5 o'clock today.
5 o'clock tonight.
Okay.
And we got a couple other matchups that are set. Florida will play Virginia, and then Oral Roberts. First appearance in the College World Series since, was it 1955, David? I think the graphic said. So Oral Roberts back in it. They had a nice basketball run as well, and they will play TCU in Omaha. So
that Oral Roberts bunch that nobody knew anything about, nobody wants to screw with them.
No.
They're pretty good.
They're not a 4 seed. They
don't feel like a 4 seed. Now, how many 4 seeds do we think have gotten all the way to the College World Series?
2 others.
Three.
Stony Brook and
Fresno State.
Three ever or 3
including Oral Roberts.
And only one has won it. It was Fresno State when they beat Georgia in 2008. Gordon Beckham was on that Georgia team.
Yeah.
Nice little nugget there.
Mm-hmm.
George, a little news also. Wake Forest beat Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, they put 22 runs up on them yesterday. Alabama is expected to hire Maryland baseball coach Rob Vaughn as their next head coach. So pitching coach Jason Jackson doesn't get the nod. I think a lot of people expected him to potentially land that. Jason Jackson not up for consideration there. I mean, the day after you lose to
that
Wake,
sounds like it's been in the works. But when you give up 22
as the pitching
and you're
coach,
the pitching coach, that doesn't look good. Now, the former coach had the over. Took you a little while, didn't it, Kelly?
Yeah. I like it. Nice.
He had the over in that one.
Yeah, he might have.
All right, NBA Finals. The Nuggets won Game 4 on Friday, 108-95, and they are in the driver's seat. They could win it tonight. But the Heat will have Tyler Hero back, apparently. He was upgraded to questionable. He's now expected to suit up tonight for Miami. So we'll see if Hero can be the hero tonight.
Yeah. What are those lids he's been wearing on the bench?
Who knows?
Good Lord.
It's all about fashion now in the NBA.
Ooh, some strange stuff.
You wouldn't have worn those, George? You didn't like them?
No, I didn't.
No? Okay. All right.
Denver is a 9-point favorite tonight.
Yes,
so
I'm aware of that.
I think you are. We'll stay tuned for that one. Stanley Cup Finals. Golden Knights won Game 4 on Saturday, 3-2. They lead that series 3-1. Game 5 tomorrow night in Vegas. Vegas could win it all tomorrow night. They are the favorite. So,
well, duh. They're up 3-1 for a reason. I mean,
they're the favorite to win tomorrow night.
Yeah. Well, they're at home. Here's the thing.
He has to argue with everything.
Of the two teams, Florida Panthers, Miami Heat, it feels like the Florida Panthers have the better shot to extend the series. Would you all buy that?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think the NBA is. I don't even think they could drag it out one more game. I think it's over tonight.
Yeah. They've got the champagne ready. You know, over the years, there have been some very awkward moments where champagne is brought into a locker room with the assumption that here's the team that's going to win. And none of them have been worse. Bob Costas, if I remember correctly, was in the Red Sox locker room in '86 when Buckner gagged the ground ball to first, and the Mets ended up winning. But earlier in that inning, Major League Baseball had gone in there with all the plastic, that they have in the locker room and the champagne or whatever it is. And when Buckner booted it, they got that stuff the hell out of there quick.
Yeah, that was. I remember that too. Being a young kid, that was awful to Bill Buckner, man. It absolutely ruined his life, George. I mean, didn't he move to Montana or somewhere? Just got away from it.
Yeah, it was sad the way all that turned out. Although within the last few years, he's gone back to Fenway. He finally went back there and got kind of a hero's welcome, which was nice to see.
I think about 2013 when the Spurs played Miami, when Ray Allen hit that shot at the buzzer to tie it and send it to overtime. The Spurs are winning that game or that series 3-2. That was Game 6. They had the security already out because the Spurs were leading with a minute left, had the tape up, and they had to take it down for overtime. So that was probably a really weird moment.
You got to work quick.
Exactly. Go ahead, Billy.
It's like, George, were you on the bridge during the Music City Miracle, or is that somebody else?
Yeah, I was on the bridge for a reason. And that part doesn't ever get put out there. The reason was
you had to get back early for a post-game show.
I had to get to the Wild Horse.
Okay, I forgot about that.
And so when it happened, there was this god-awful roar. And I was like,
something happened.
What in the hell just happened? And then I get back to where I can see straight into one of the scoreboards, the big scoreboards in the end zone. And Kelly, I remember when the officials went into the peep show to look at it.
Yeah.
I was like, these people, if they rule this a forward lateral, they will never get out of here alive.
Never get out. And you know what? You think about that, George. Because I was watching the deal with the Immaculate Reception the other night, and just think if those referees would have overturned that call of a touchdown. I mean, they didn't signal the touchdown for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But just think if they would have never gotten out of there. So the human element comes into play a little bit. And, looking at that Music City Miracle, I don't know. It's obviously in history, and Kevin Dyson got it. And, I know Kevin well and know the play well, but man, that was really close. You could have called it either way.
Kelly, in the post game, and I had forgotten this, but Kevin Ingram was sent out into the audience to find people.
Yeah.
And so I told him, I said, to ask questions. I said, find somebody who's sober. There was virtually nobody.
That was a hard ask for Kevin.
Ooh, there was some serious boozolas. A lot of celebration.
Somebody in the chat room asks, "What was that roar like?" Plaz, unreal.
Oh God, it was like a freight train. You just hear this thing and you're like, because Christie had just kicked a field goal to give Buffalo the lead, and I hauled out of there to try to get to the Wild Horse in time. And then as I loop around to get on the bridge, I just hear that roar. And I was like, oh, my Lord, what have I missed? There's some great stories.
Those situations like that, when you hear those big roars, you don't even have to see it. You know something happened. And you'll never forget that for the rest of your life. Just that roar. I mean, you don't hear that much in your life, but when you do, you knew something good happened.
Our city had some celebration over that thing.
Oh, yeah.
Kelly, you mentioned the roar. Unless you left early from a Vanderbilt football game, it was probably the other team that did, because the roar is so loud in that stadium. Wow. I've done that a few times.
Yeah, I remember being down there a couple of years ago when Georgia was there, and the whole stadium was full of Georgia folks.
It was red. It was all red.
It was all Georgia folks yelling.
Just grown men barking at one another.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
So we've heard about this PGA Live merger, right?
Yes.
Not so fast, says the U.S. Senate's Permanent Subcommittee on Investigations, whatever that is. They've opened a review on this merge with the DP World Tour and Saudi Arabia's investment fund. Connecticut Senator Richard Blumenthal, who is the chairman of the committee, he notified Jay Monahan of the inquiry in a letter earlier today. He said, while few details about the agreement are known, PIF's role as an arm of the Saudi government and the PGA Tour's sudden and drastic reversal of position concerning Live Golf raises some serious questions regarding the reasons for and terms behind the agreement. So not so fast on this this merger with the government now involved.
Well, I saw where one of these specialists in this kind of stuff said that the agreement is illegal because it generates a monopoly. Well, I don't know enough to know, but what did the NFL AFL merger do? The exact same thing.
Same thing.
It seems like. Anyway, film at 11 for now. For now. So we go to the break at this point?
We go to the break at this point.
Okay. And then looking forward to former Duke football coach David Cutcliffe, who should be joining us after the break. Looking forward to it. Ready, set, go.
How am I going to get to work? My car's totaled.
Skylar, our team is making a call right now. We'll get you a rental car. Don't worry.
That's a relief.
Call us 24/7. We're here. We're going to help.
Year number 2 of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night was awesome. And the reason is really simple. I chose Strike and Spare, and they were amazing. They have great food, great bowling, and a staff that is truly ready to go the extra mile to help you. They have 5 family fun centers in the area to choose from, and for more info, go to strikeandspare.com or call them at 615-824-5685. Now that the weather has gotten considerably warmer, there's not a better place to spend a morning or an afternoon than Riverside Golf Lanes. So you've probably noticed the weather has gotten a lot warmer, and that means a couple of things in Nashville. It means baseball, and it really means golf. And for me, it's a visit to Riverside Golf Links. The course has improved dramatically. There are now 27 holes, including a 9-hole executive course. If you want tee times or more information, dial them up at 615-847-5074.
You can't see the sights without the sounds. From the crack of the bat to the roar of the crowd and everything in between, discover what Hit City has to offer. Spend your nights cheering on the Nashville Sounds at First Horizon Park with giveaways, fireworks shows, theme weekends, and more. Single game tickets are on sale now. Visit NashvilleSounds.com to claim your seat today.
So who said I can't be a golfer? Well, you know what? This is X Golf, located just down the road from the Fordyce Center in Bellevue. This is fun. It'll improve your golf game, and you need to stop in and check it out. 8138 Sawyer Brown Road, And who knows, I may get to 200 before it's all over. Excited in just a moment to say hello to a fellow Braves fan, a great quarterback guru over the years, and a guy that did an incredible and I think underrated job as the head coach at Duke. Let's head down to Birmingham and say hello to one of our favorites, Coach David Cutcliffe, who joins us. By the way, if I said Tuesday, my apologies.
I don't know who's right or wrong. Doesn't matter. I'm here, feeling good, and I'm liking the swing, George. I'm liking the swing. It's controlled. As long as you're down the middle, it doesn't matter how far you hit it. That's a fact. I see a head nodding going the other way.
He only hit, Coach. He only hits it 125 yards with his driver. I mean, good gracious.
Well, that comes in handy on the last shot. Well, let's see with him. Last shot on a par 4, maybe, right?
Oh,
meaning the fourth shot.
George hits up there with the ladies' tees. That's what he's got to do. He's got to go to the ladies' tees.
Coach Cutcliffe, this would have been 1985 that C.M. Newton told his wife he is the most horse boom golfer ever. Can you believe he said that?
No, because Coach Newton was really good at everything. It didn't matter what the score was. Coach Newton was good at it. I've told you before, I used to love to watch he and Coach Bostic and Coach Sanderson coach. I learned a lot watching them coach basketball practice. I had no intention of being a basketball coach either. Don't misread that. I just love to watch good coaches work.
What do you think now that you look back on your football career? What made you such a good quarterback teacher?
I think, I would tell you this. I figured out early on, you train a quarterback from the neck up and the neck down. And you can't favor any one of those. And if you favor one of them, it has to be the mechanics from the neck down. If you're playing a game properly and you're using your eyes, you're using your head, which we demanded our guys do that, their mechanics couldn't, go to a default of not good enough. So you really have to, really grind the physical aspects of it, which a lot of guys get in the NFL and they quit doing it. And that's why I kind of stayed with our quarterbacks through their NFL careers to make sure that wasn't a fault. So I think we did a great job of having a game plan, if you will, of how to go about teaching quarterbacks how to play. The other part of it is it wasn't about me. It was all about them. So I teach them everything I know, and also remember they're the functional part. So you better be a good listener, because young coaches, they coach quarterbacks from a sky view from the press box. That quarterback's not seeing anything that way. And I hear them I go to meetings now and I hear them criticize, well, why'd you do this? Or what? Well, I want to say, if you put a helmet cam on or you look at the end zone copy, you'll see what he's seeing and understand why he did what he did. So I think we did a good job of a variety of things, but that kind of highlights it.
With Daniel Jones, he was under a lot of pressure a year ago, a lot of people not buying into him.
Yeah.
And he really had a good year. Did you talk to him throughout the season?
Oh, yeah. We talk frequently and work together in the off season, but let's tribute Brian Daboll, who was the NFL Coach of the Year. If you got up close, and I was in Philadelphia for their playoff game, and I'm looking at the Eagles, I'm looking at the Giants. There's no comparison in either line of scrimmage. It all starts there. And so people that were upset with Daniel didn't understand all Daniel had been through from a schematic standpoint, and then his fault too, holding the ball. But you can't do that, and particularly that league. So I would encourage him in the off season, and he's such a nice man. I think he was too nice. I told him, you got to vocalize to your coaches, you're the functional part. You can't hold the ball for these routes to mature, and you're getting hit and fumbling the ball in the pocket, and everybody's wanting to hang you. And that's the way it goes for a quarterback. So when Brian Daboll got the job, he called me the next day, and we had a long discussion about Daniel and what he does well, and all of those things. And I thought Coach Daboll did a phenomenal job of doing all the little things that helps an NFL quarterback be successful.
Kelly, I want to bring you in here on this one about Peyton Manning. It was about 5 years ago. Peyton was the Tennessean Sports Awards featured speaker that night. And we happened to run into each other behind the curtain at kind of an intermission period. And at one point, he tells me, because he knows that I know of David's love of baseball, just like mine. He goes, Coach Cutcliffe threw out the first pitch at Yankee Stadium. And I didn't know it at that time. I was like, no, tell me about it. He goes, oh, he loved it. And I said, oh, I know. I said, he's a huge baseball fan. So, David, what was that experience like?
Ooh, man, I did prepare. I'm going to admit that. I'd seen too many nightmare first pitches, but I got my old high school glove still. So I grabbed my glove. I took our equipment people. That's who you go to. One of our equipment guys, Tommy Phillips, is an old catcher. And so we worked a little bit. But when you come to walking out on that mound, I had to kind of take myself mentally back to high school. You're in your 60s. I'm not going to say, quote, upper, but you're in your 60s. We've seen the disasters. And then they asked me, do you want to throw from down inside? I said, oh, wait a minute. No way. Put me on the rubber, man. And there's argument whether it was a slightly outside or whether it was on the black. But I and the catcher agreed it was on the black. It was a strike. It popped the mitt a little bit. It's out there in video if you want to look. And wow, it was magnificent. I mean, Yankee Stadium, think about that. And I was kidding with the starter. I said, you can go back to the dugout. I got this,
Who actually was your catcher?
Oh, gosh. I don't actually remember in that time. My mind was so fired up. And a good guy, too. And I'm going to have to look that up. That's a good question.
When
I ask that question, I'm going to have an answer.
So I got one back for you, and then I'll turn it to Kelly for a couple of halfway intelligent questions. David, when James Franklin got the Penn State job, the Phillies invited him to throw out the first pitch.
Yeah.
And my buddy Jeff Francoeur goes to the Phillies marketing lady and says, my parents went to Vandy. I want to catch the first pitch. So Franklin goes out there. He throws the first pitch. Jeff takes the ball out to him, and he goes, I guess you know Plaster, don't you? And you see Franklin break out in this big grin. There's some great first pitch stories. Let's be honest.
Well, I don't know what his looked like. It should have been better than mine via age, right?
Yeah.
And James is a pretty good athlete, but boy, we've seen it all, have we not?
My God. What about the mayor in Cincinnati? That thing.
I just wouldn't do it. You just have to learn to say no if you're not capable. I had done it at Ole Miss. I had done it at Duke very successfully. I'd done it at a couple of minor league ballparks. I did it for the Durham Bulls. And so I've done a few of them, but not ever in Yankee Stadium. That's a different animal.
Oh, I bet it is. Was it a big crowd?
Yes, it was a huge crowd. They were loud. We had just won the Pinstripe Bowl there, so we had a nice reputation in New York at the time. And I think people knew that when I was a child, it was all Yankees. And when Milwaukee was no longer the Braves, Atlanta became the Braves, then the Atlanta Braves became my team, but just from geography from Alabama. But I can tell you the 60 Yankees lineup. I mean, I was all in as a Yankee. And at 16, if somebody, George, would have told me I wasn't going to pitch for the Yankees, I would have bloodied their mouth before they finished the sentence. I promise you. That was the plan. And but the good Lord saw differently, and thank goodness for the Yankees he did.
So, Kelly, I don't know if you guys have run into each other, but this has been, gosh, I don't know, 20 years ago. David and I were both on Doug Matthews' show, and it used to drive Doug out of his gourd that at the end we would waste 3 minutes of his precious time talking about the Braves. It would kill him.
Well, I remember the last time that I saw Coach Cutcliffe. It was a couple of years ago at Peyton's Hall of Fame deal. I ran into him and Coach Fulmer before Peyton spoke, so I got to see him there. Peyton has become a really, really good speaker. He's really good at that.
He's amazing. He is. I mean, and he's gotten better, no differently than when he played football. He works at things, but he's certainly gifted. He's just natural with it, as is Archie and Eli.
Yeah, he's gotten really good at speaking. But I'm so glad to hear you say, Coach Cutcliffe, because nobody really knows what it takes to be a quarterback.
What was that name you just called him?
What's that, Coach Cutcliffe?
Oh, you didn't spit it out that well.
Well, that was my German name. My mother was German.
What I was trying to get at before George so rudely interrupts. He always does that to me. That's just the way George is. He's got that kind of personality. But everybody down here is on Ryan Tannehill, and they really don't. All these armchair quarterbacks don't really understand what it takes to be a quarterback. And I can remember, being in meetings in Indianapolis with Peyton and with Tom Moore and Bruce Arians and all those guys, and Tom would stand up and he would say, the receiver's got to run the right route. The guy's got to block the guys. And if a running back's supposed to pick up somebody, he's got to pick him up. And people don't understand that. They get so annoyed with Ryan Tannehill. And I've always took up for Ryan Tannehill. I think he's a really good quarterback. I think he's a good leader. But just talk about just the intensity of everything that goes on in the intricacies of being a quarterback.
Yeah, well, let's start with the end of a play. And all of a sudden, your mind is racing situation. What's going to go through your mind in this short 15 seconds, if you will, situation, both game, down and distance, who you're playing, what to expect on the down and distance, while you're getting talked to by somebody in the NFL about the play.
Right.
Now you're taking in the play. If you're in the huddle, you're having to, say it again, look at somebody and possibly say, hey, are you good? Because now with all the free agency, somebody in there in the receiving corps, not sure what you wanted. All of this is going through your mind. You have a somewhat hopefully preconceived idea of what you might see via this down and distance. And then you get in the formation and you're making sure your formation's solid. You're also looking at the defense. And it's taken me a long time to say all this, correct?
Yes.
All of that has occurred. Now, what you just said is so critically true. And this is where Peyton and Eli were so phenomenal, is being able to communicate, to feel comfortable that protection is right. My wife would leave the house sometime if it was during the season and Peyton called and I was free, I was at home, and we started talking pass protection. That is a 90-minute conversation of how to fix pass protection, pre-snap calls, post-snap reads, etc. And so Coach Moore, who you did a great imitation of, by the way, who's one of my favorite people.
I love him.
He thinks I'm a wuss because I'm not coaching anymore, but he is absolutely, that quarterback is responsible for every bit of it.
Yep.
And if you have a back that's young, Or why do they put third down backs in there? Because some will block, some won't.
Correct.
But if you're going to call some drop backs on first down or second down, you're vulnerable to all of it. What I would tell Ryan is what I just said about Daniel Jones. You've been in different systems with different coaches, correct? You have to be the functional part. It has to be friendly to you. I call this the Olivia Manning. Okay, and I'll tell you why. When Olivia realized that Peyton was not going to go to Ole Miss, he was coming to Tennessee, I was sitting in their house, she looked at me and she said, David, do me one favor. I said, yes, ma'am. Keep Peyton's uniform clean. Archie was on the ground all the time. I said, yes, ma'am, you can count on it. And so when a quarterback hears me say Olivia Manning, I want the ball out of their hand in 3.0 or less. Certain plays you put in that are 2.8, 2.75 even, 2.5, all those times are in my mind. I would tell Ryan, if it gets outside of that, if you don't have just a beast of an offensive front in the NFL, you better start thinking that way. Then the other part is making sure the receivers are ready when you're ready. That was a constant problem with Eli. So they would bring the receivers in, and we could convince them in the off season that we couldn't look at the back of their heads. So it's complex. I'm giving you a quarterback guy's answer, but I wish coaches would value what the functional part's telling them more of. But the functional part has to speak up. And you can make it work within the system if all that I just talked about goes through your mind. And then once that ball snapped, you got a pre-snap read, you get an immediate post-snap read, and then there better be an alarm. Something good needs to happen with the ball, even if I throw it away, if that makes sense. Live to play another play. So I know you weren't expecting that long answer, but if you're going to hit me with quarterback stuff, you're going to hear it.
No, that's what I want. I mean, that's you're a quarterback guy, and you coach one of the greatest ever, two of the greatest ever. So that's kind of what I want, and that's what I want to show the viewers that are watching this. It's not that simple. And nowadays, that's why I got into coaching. I coached high school for 9 years and tried to teach the same stuff. But now you've got this new age of quarterbacks, and I'm not sure that guys are getting the coaching of what you just did. And that's why I got into coaching.
Yeah, a lot of them aren't, Kelly. Now, there's different types of systems, different types of people doing it. The fortunate thing for some of these systems that don't care what the defense looks like or protection, I will give them credit. They're throwing it on time. They're using the width of the field well. But that's all good for the most part. In college, you can still take that approach. But in the National Football League, people are just too good defensively. The field, what people understand, the field gets smaller and the play time is quicker. That's the difference. It's not scheme. And the NFL doesn't have these grand schematic, magic defensive schemes that are harder than the college coaches. No, it's the timing and the width of the field is shrunk by that athleticism. So safeties, good gosh, the ground they cover, and it helps them disguise more. They do a little bit of that, but the biggest thing is just the amount of time you have to work with, and that's why certain guys can't transition from the college game to the NFL game. And what I tell coaches, what I've always done, I make them practice faster than they want to, because I don't want the game to speed up. I want the game to slow down. So sometimes they don't like me in practice, but I mean, I'm going to speed them up. They're going to play fast in practice. And that's been another part of our success.
So what's different now? Because I had a show on it a couple of months ago talking to George, and we'll go into that. But what's different now that was different 20 years ago in the game of football?
Well, I think offensively, the first thing, sorry about that, I'll turn that sound off. The first thing offensively is there's so many more gun teams,
Right.
When I first coaching, back in the 70s and '80s, it was rare to get in what we called then the shotgun. Now it's so prevalent, we just shorten it to the gun, right?
Right.
One of the interesting things to tell people to look at, you heard me talk about that post-snap read, right? Is a shortstop, George, you're listening, comes across the bag with a ball from the second baseman. He never looks at the ball. He's looking at first base. He's assessing the runner. You drag across the bag. Well, the shotgun, quote, snap should be caught the same way. If a quarterback drops his head to catch a snap in the gun, I won't recruit him. I want him to be able to see the ball and see the field at the same time. The immediate post-snap read, which means as soon as that center's hand moves, defenses are moving. That post-snap read is critical to success. So if a guy in the gun can't keep his eyes downfield, it's a problem. So in the old days, I called it being busy during the drop. And in a lot of ways, it was really good to have a 5-step drop to evaluate a defense, and you could also use your shoulders and eyes to try to move a defender a little bit during the drop. So I don't know, I'm getting way ahead of people maybe understanding, but the game of football there with the gun is really hard to time a run game because a snap being erratic will make a back slow down. So there's more hesitation runs than in the old days running downhill. And that's why, say, if I'm at a NFL program where, we got really good offensive linemen, or if I'm one of the elite colleges, I would go back under the center because the run action and play action passes are where explosives live if you can run the ball. Plus, defenses aren't built to have linemen come off and backs hit it downhill like you can from under the center. So that's offensively. Defensively, I think the biggest thing is that because of the skill of the offensive players, you don't see as much of a double safety scheme because they can't hold up versus a run game.
Right.
So you're getting more people into the box some way. And that's why they pay corners a lot of money, because if you can go one-on-one outside, then that lets those safeties be pass defenders first, but they also can fit the run. It's a fun thing to watch. Sometimes it's kind of funny when I watch football how many of the color analysts don't really know what happened. They don't really.
You're absolutely right. I'd sit there and argue with the TV sometimes because I'm like, that's not what happened.
No. And so this is my first year out of coaching, so I've never watched football on TV till now. Yeah. And I don't know if I can continue. I think I'm just going to go to games all the time,
That's funny. Well, let me ask you this one last question. I know we're running up against time, but I presented this to George a couple of months ago. But, talking to Coach Donnelly, which I'm still – he's my guy, talking to Coach Donnelly and Coach Robbins, I'm worried about the game of football. And I'll say this because if you look at the numbers, and I had all the statistics and all that, but if you look at the numbers, there's like 100,000 kids from 10 years ago were not playing high school football. So the numbers are dwindling as we keep going year by year. And I'm afraid that football in the near future, I don't know if it's the distant future, but I'm afraid it's the near future. I don't know where it's going to go. What are your thoughts about that? They're changing the rules for everything. I mean, fundamentals and tackling and blocking are still the keys. I don't care how many times we get up in shotgun. I don't care about all that. At some point, fundamentals come into it, but it just seems like football is going the opposite direction. I love the game. You love the game. We all love the game, but I'm just afraid for its future in the upcoming years.
Well, that's why I took the job with the Southeastern Conference and I didn't just retire. Yeah. Is that I'm concerned about a lot of directions. That's certainly a big part of it. Right now I'm working. I was talking to a couple of former offensive linemen about this morning. We get a lot of negative public opinion about concussion. That's been the biggest issue that parents have had. That's not my biggest issue with football. Even in the day, I've coached 46 years, thousands of players, and I know there's a chance of concussion. I know there is a chance of long-term issues, But I can tell you this, I don't have a player in my past that had a long-term carryover or issue. Where I'm concerned, we work out 12 months, we put mental stress and mental health issues, and then there's such a low percentage that go on to the NFL anyway, but it's health issues like obesity, diabetes, and I don't care what position you play.
Yeah.
I've buried 8 offensive linemen, been to 8 funerals that were in their 40s. Some of them played in the NFL, all due to diabetes and heart disease.
Yeah.
Overweight, 400 plus pounds when they were put in the ground. We're losing public opinion. And Abraham Lincoln said it best. Without public opinion, you can't get anything done. With it, you can get most anything done. So somehow, it's just no different than name, image, and likeness, which has become problematic, and no different than the transfer portal for different reasons is problematic in both cases. The participation in football, we've lost public opinion in all those areas. We need to do a better job of educating people, and to get politicians to listen, which is going on right now for all the good reasons. You still need public opinion, because they're going to listen. If they can't be reelected, they're going to do something about some of these.
Right.
So it's a serious subject. I spend most of my days dealing with that. The rest of it, I'm trying to listen. I love going visiting with the head coaches and the assistant coaches, but when I go on a site visit, I'm going to talk to the operations people, the equipment people, go to the training room, go to the video center. Those are the people that really understand the real problems that are faced in college football right now. And they're not making mega money. You understand what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to listen to them and help make their coaches aware of what their people are going through. You know, we've all as coaches been paid well enough, if not too much, to do what we do. But that's not the case for everybody in the building. And I just think and I encourage those people, let people know what it's like, you equipment guys. You know, public opinion can come from a lot of directions. And I hope that the focal point of presidents, ADs, and coaches is still about the student athlete and still about their well-being, meaning educationally, health-wise, things I just talked about post-playing, education again, because God knows they're going to need it. And then we're not trying to spoil children playing collegiately. You know what we're doing? We're trying to raise great adults, and in the sport of football, great men.
Yeah.
And that's why I miss it. And I wouldn't change the way we do things. Discipline is a good word. Hard is a good word. Man, when somebody tells you something's going to be hard, get fired up. You get ready to get better. So anyway, that's my soapbox right now.
Well, Coach, I appreciate it, man. That was awesome. That's what I wanted. I know George is itching to get back in here, but those were the answers, man. That's I could sit here and talk with you all day, but I certainly appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, Thank Kelly, you. Hold on to this. David, let me ask you this, and feel free to tell me no. Yep. Can I go to a commercial break and do about 6-8 more minutes with you?
Sure, we can do that.
Oh, you all know how much I love hearing this man. This is good stuff with former Duke football coach David Cutcliffe. You see where I'm about to go. Big Machine Music City Grand Prix. You see the dates at the bottom of the screen. I won't lie. I've never been to a Grand Prix. I don't know what's coming, but I do know I'm going this August. The thing that has impressed me is that a bunch of you who have been in the same category that I've been in, never been to one, have no idea what you're getting into, have come away saying in the first couple of years, this is one of the coolest events they've ever been involved in. That is why I'm excited about what's coming. They've done a wonderful job sort of incorporating all this music talent that we have in the city, 3 days of it that's unprecedented. And then to know that the tickets are now on sale and you can jump in. Very easy. MusicCityGP.com. That's MusicCityGP.com. We'll give you more info later about some Father's Day specials you'll want to take advantage of. More with Coach David Cutcliffe when we come back. If you're looking for a football camp for your son or daughter that stresses the fundamentals and doing things right, let me suggest the Hometown Football Camp. Here's former MTSU quarterback Wes Counts.
The Hometown Football Camp is a youth football camp at Battleground Academy, June 19th through 21st. This is a working skills camp for young football players to learn proper technique and skills to prepare them for the upcoming season. Our coaches have won championships at both high school and college levels and are eager to pass along their knowledge. So if the young football player in your life wants to be successful this fall, send them to the Hometown Football Camp. Register at hometownfootballcamp.com. That's hometownfootballcamp.com.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank & Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank & Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank & Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Family owned and operated for more than 2 decades, Alaco Fine Wood Floors is Nashville and Middle Tennessee's choice for premium quality hardwood floors. Since 1995, Jimmy Alaco and his army of employees have embodied the approach of taking pride in one's craft and providing superior customer service, growing from a one-man shop to a team of 23 professionals who share the founder's passion for quality craftsmanship and customer satisfaction. If you are interested in contacting them, you can find their headquarters at 2505 Winford Avenue in Berry Hill, or give them a call at 615-356-0303. Again, that's 615-356-0303, or log on to alacofinewoodfloors.com. Alaco Fine Wood Floors, serving Middle Tennessee's hardwood flooring needs since 1995.
At Baird, we have a different slant on global financial advice. That global capabilities mean nothing without personal attention. We have investor relationships in 35 countries and market expertise in over 40 industry verticals, all to help make the most important investment connections of all, yours. Global financial advice with a client-first approach. It's the shape of things to come. Discover the Baird difference at BairdDifference.com.
Okay, I'm going to try to keep my word here. Maybe 6 to 8 minutes with former Duke football coach David Cutcliffe, who joins us from down in the Birmingham area. David, when you announced your retirement from Duke, If I had been a head coach, I would have reached out the next day and said, come be on my NFL staff. Did anybody do that?
Yeah, I had NFL opportunities happen pretty quickly, and I really just wasn't ready to just jump at anything. There was one that I was pretty strongly interested in, and then I had a boatload of collegiate head coaches call me about the senior analyst. I thought I hit the senior part real well. Analyze my rear end. I'm not going to analyze. I'm going to do something, you know. I didn't care a lot for that, and I wasn't going to get in the Arch Manning sweepstakes. I'm too close to the family to have put that kind of pressure on Arch to go somewhere just to try to entice him. But the NFL did interest me, George. Just the pure end of coaching and all the problems we're faced with. But I really just chose family over career for the first time in my life. And then literally the first time I had time for our children, grandchildren, and most certainly, most importantly, my wife. So that's why I didn't do it.
Do you think you got out, in my opinion, at the right time? I look around, I don't see coaches having the fun they used to have. Are you in that same ballpark?
Absolutely. It's become more difficult in so many different ways. I mean, you're not recruiting like the old days where you're building relationships and you're convinced you've got the right circumstance for a youngster, not just for that time he's there, but for the rest of his life. You know, I always thought that was the way you try to find a fit. And now the parents are asking our coaches, well, what's your name, image, or your NIL? They use that. I've refused to use it personally. What's your NIL package? That's not a good reason to choose someplace to go. And then once you get them there, goodness knows the same thing's going to occur if a guy's a really good player. Then you have agents calling you as a coach and say, hey, my guy can get, $1 million here. What are you going to do? Like, wow, and so they've become venture capitalists as well as coaches. Seriously, think about it. And everybody says, well, that's illegal. They can't be involved with a collective. Well, how could they not be? How could they not? I mean, let's face it, folks, what's going on out there. Our kids are being bought more than ever before. And it's not right. And the other part of it, we don't know what the long-term effect on these young people is going to be. We don't, we don't know. These decisions are critical times in our life. If I had not been a college coach, I would have been an elementary school principal. I believe you got to get them started right, and then you got to finish it right. And I think coaches are stressing over things they're having to do that they don't really want to do. It's not the workload. We've always had a workload, but there is no off time. Technology, telephones, kids' abilities to contact you, agents contacting you as well as players. Oh my gosh. It's just never ending, and people will break. There are going to be coaches that break, literally break, and that's a sad thing. Good men, good coaches, good people. That's not enough anymore.
Okay, I promised I'd get you out within 6 to 8 minutes. Kelly, let's bring Kelly back up. Kelly, he deserves to hear one more Tom Moore.
Love it.
Well, I'll tell Coach Cutcliffe, this is a real funny story real quick, okay? So we're in training camp, okay? So Bruce had put in this, it was 4 and 5 belly check is what it was. So if you got an under, you're going away from the shade. If you got an even defense, you're going to the tightest tackle, okay? So me and Peyton are both confused. I mean, we're confused. It was the first day. So lo and behold, I get the first call, okay? I'm backing Peyton up, so I get the first call. So it was 4 or 5 belly checks. So it was an even front, but I froze. I didn't know what to do. Okay, so Tom Moore, like 5 seconds into it, Tom Moore says, I don't care what you call, just make a decision, run the play. So I made it good. So I made a decision, and I ran the right play. So Peyton comes up the very next play, and he's got belly check again. And I can see, man, it's rolling through his mind, and he's lost too. So we're 5 seconds into it. We're 10 seconds into it. We're 15 seconds into it. I'm looking at Tom Moore, and I'm like, you ain't going to say nothing to him? So then Peyton turns around. He don't call anything, and Peyton turns around and goes, yeah, I don't know where to go. I'm confused right now. And Tom goes, it's okay, son. That confused me too. He just cussed me out to play before. I said, what are we doing here, Tom? I'm like, this dude right here didn't even run the play. You know, of course, I didn't say all that, but it was really
You were
funny.
thinking it.
Oh, I was absolutely thinking. I wanted to punch Tom right in his face too, because he just called me out in front of everybody.
You know, being the backup.
Oh, you know.
And the backup to, let's face it, a golden child.
Oh, yeah, you know.
Is a hard position to be in. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. But I can tell you this, I watched you closely, your college career. I saw you in high school. You had a great career, and you could get it done. You could throw it. You could manage it. And George, I'm sorry, I'm making it hard on you here, but Kelly could play, okay? Probably still could. No, I'm just telling you, I'm gonna make it hard on my friend George Plaster right here, because it's reality. Now I'd give you one, Tom Moore, and I'll try to do my best voice. We were, he came to Duke to get his hip replaced and or knee, I guess. But anyway, I had him over on the field all the time, and he saw that we had a long way to go, and he said, he said, let me tell you, people think the grass is greener on the other side, but let me tell you, when you go over there, you'll find it's a cesspool somewhere. And so that was Tom's way of telling me, relax, it's going to be okay. You know, I know you don't have enough players right now, but don't worry about that grass that's greener on the other side of the fence. So he honestly helped me decide to stay there 14 years, and I'm so grateful that I did. Tom Moore's wisdom is beyond 6 decades of coaching in the National Football League. And as you know, unique man to say the least. Hardcore ball coach, but if you cut that core open, then nothing but good inside that man.
I still talk to Tom, man. I love him to death. He'll call me every now and then, and he says, he always said, son, you played at a directional school.
You know, he middle is better than east and west. That's what he's got to understand.
Right. And I told him when he was in Iowa, they had leather helmets. I'm like, you didn't even play, so what are you talking about, Tom?
Oh, Lord. He's, what is he, 84 now?
Still rolling. He's still rolling, man.
Still coaching. Of course, he has his own hours now.
Absolutely.
I do know that. But when he was in Arizona with Bruce, he would call me. He knows I get up early and I'm in early. He would call me. It'd be 5 a.m. Eastern time. I said, Tom, what are you doing? Well, I like to come in before everybody else and get my work done. But he said, I'm going to go home when I want to. So
that's my guy.
He had it figured out, but something else. You guys have a great rest of your afternoon.
Appreciate it, Coach.
This has been the highlight of it. Coach, you are the best.
Well, I don't know.
Soon.
Y'all are, and go football. What you brought up, Kelly, go football. The benefits far outweigh anything else that a young person can do. And thank goodness it's hard.
Yeah.
That's what I said. That's the best word a young person can hear is this is going to be hard. Thank goodness football's hard to play.
Correct.
Makes better people. All right, guys.
This is as good an interview as you'll hear. David, thank you so much. Love him to death. He is the best, period. We're late to the break. Who cares? We'll continue in a moment.
Hey, thank you for meeting with me today. The insurance company has made an offer.
Already? How?
They've offered you the entire policy.
Thank you, Blair.
You're so welcome.
Forget the fact that Sir Speedy Music City is owned by my BGA classmate James Warren. Their work stands on its own merit. James and his staff do incredible work, as evidenced by the huge banners at the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. If you're looking for quality to help your marketing and business communications, and you want it at a reasonable price, these are your folks. Call them at 615-832-9511 or go to print at sirspeedymusiccity.com. And be sure to tell them Plaz sent you.
This is my buddy and former Nashville Sounds PA announcer Eric Berner. I always laughed in the old days at Greer Stadium when I would walk in, Eric would immediately play my favorite song, Van Halen's Jump. But then I learned he actually has a real job with Rockcastle Wealth Advisors.
Yeah, George, that's what I do. I help people in the pursuit of making their money live as long as they do. Everybody's situation is different, so I use a customized and individualized, personalized approach to the person I'm working with. Old 401ks, retirement planning, insurance planning, inheritance planning. Those are things that people like to get some more information about.
One of the things I find is people don't even know where to start, and that's where you come in.
Yeah, so I can usually help people with an initial phone call or meeting that is a no charge and no obligation.
And I'll bet you have a phone number and a website.
I do, George. They can call me at 615-235-1058 or rockcastlewealth.com or Eric at rockcastlewealth.com.
Hello, this is Celeste Middleton, a State Farm agent in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. I want to help my neighbors and local businesses be proactive and assess their risk before something unexpected happens. We want you to have a thorough understanding of your coverages to have the best protection when you need it. We can create a personal price plan for you. Our team has over 70 years of experience helping people in Middle Tennessee. We have an awesome team with integrity and provide honest and prompt communication. And we love what we do and genuinely care about everyone we work with at our office. Give us a call at 615-895-2700. Send us a message at celestemiddleton.com or walk in at our office at 803 North Thompson Lane in Murfreesboro. We would love to earn your business.
Welcome to John English Antique Sports and Cards, located at 204 East Depot Street in beautiful downtown Shelbyville, Tennessee. Their phone number is area code 931-492-4304. John, obviously, I've been blown away by what I've seen at your place. I've now been there 3 times. But for the person who's never been, what should they expect?
Well, we have a 3,000 square foot store, George. Half of it is vintage cards in all sports, and then half of the store is, a lot of people call it the museum, where there's a lot of early equipment and just the history of sports in general: baseball, football, basketball, golf, tennis, and other items.
When somebody comes in there that you know is a big sports fan, what is their normal reaction?
Well, I think that they're pleasantly surprised, and of course, being in Shelbyville, Tennessee, which is a small town that you would never expect a shop like we have to be in. So they're kind of, I don't want to say blown away, but as I said, pleasantly surprised.
Welcome back in on this Reaction Monday. It is time for Kelly Holcomb's favorite segment of the show. It is time for Stat of the Day, presented to you by John English Antique Sports and Cards, located in Shelbyville, Tennessee. 204 East Depot Street is where you can find them. They're open during the week, Tuesday through Friday from noon to 5, and on Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. So give them a call at 931-492-4304. We got a football-centric show today. It's been a while since we've had a football-related Stat of the Day question. So we'll head to the NFL, in particular to Super Bowl history. There have been 3 non-quarterbacks in NFL history to throw a touchdown pass in a Super Bowl game. Can you name the player who was the first non-quarterback to ever throw a TD pass in a Super Bowl game?
Oh, God.
I did see this earlier, so I know the answer.
Obviously, everybody knows the famous Philly when the Eagles played the Patriots, but that was the second ever pass. So there's your hint.
This might be stupid, but did Mike Vrabel, did he throw a touchdown pass or catch?
Hold on. So that was the second one?
That was the second one.
Okay, so I got it. George,
You know it.
Are you saying you know the answer?
I think I do.
He's got something.
Fire it.
Hines Ward.
He caught it. Who threw it?
Caught it.
Oh, who threw it? Antoine Randall L.
It is Antoine.
Yeah, Antoine Randall L. There you go. You're right. Golly.
It's the Seahawks,
George
2006.
quick with that one.
You
Good
know,
job, George.
Thank you. Well, you were a huge help in it.
You know, that was the best stat of the day. Great teamwork. Kelly with the assist and George with the slam dunk.
He
Nice, George.
set it up and I knocked it down.
Since you guys got it so quickly, who was the last one to do it?
Oh, I don't.
It was Joe Mixon. He threw it to T. Higgins against the Rams 2 years ago.
Oh, wow.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
You know where I was going, but it was wrong, obviously, was Otis Taylor with the Kansas City Chiefs. And what I think I remember, there's a famous NFL films thing where Hank Stram tells the team, here it comes. But I think it was a wide receiver screen, Super Bowl IV, I think it was, against the Vikings.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I guess even though we're a tad bit late, first of all, I could care less.
Yeah, that was great. That was awesome.
Oh, how good is he?
I could have literally talked to him all day. Like he's really he's very in depth with what he talks about, very detailed, which I loved.
You know, Kelly, it dawned on me listening to him. He reminds me so much of C.M. Newton. There are so many of the same kind of things. Coach Newton was wise, very wise. And obviously David Cutcliffe is as well. But it's not a bunch of big, words that you're like, what the hell did that mean?
Right.
It's just simple, basic stuff. He does. He reminds me a lot of Coach Newton.
That was good stuff, man.
Yeah. Are we now ready for the big open?
We'll roll with it.
It's a moment you have breathlessly awaited. It's time for Kelly Holcomb's World of Football. As shocking as this may sound, Kelly Holcomb's World of Football has sponsors. It's brought to you in part by Baird Financial with Yaz Hassan and Justin Oldham, and by State Farm Insurance, located in Murfreesboro, through agent Celeste Middleton. By the way, David texted me and said he had fun because I texted him and said that was awesome. So in trying to put together, Kelly, this particular segment, what you've gone with is who are the favorites to win the Super Bowl, to get to, I don't even know, where is the Super Bowl this year? Do we know?
I couldn't tell you.
It's a good question.
I'm sure y'all will find it in 10
next
seconds.
Next year is in San Francisco. Is it not? It's Las Vegas, is it not?
Vegas got a Super Bowl? Oh, my God.
Nice.
You know what?
It is in Las Vegas.
We may have to be on Radio Row.
We might have to do a show from there.
We may need a loan by the time it's over. So, Kelly, you sort of went with the kind of the same old stuff with not a ton of breakthrough. So let's start, if we can, and I'm going to go in the order that I gave it to you guys. Kansas City Chiefs. Let's sort of talk about them and show a little bit of Patrick Mahomes and maybe the most unguardable tight end in football. Kelly, what is it you worry about with Kansas City and whether they could get back again?
I don't know if you worry about anything. It's just injuries. I think injuries could hurt them. That's the only really thing that could hurt them, like an injury to Patrick Mahomes or Travis Kelce or, one of their big guys. I don't know. This thing has gotten to be tougher over the weeks because we're in such a down period. So, I've been naming off a lot of things and trying to predict who's this and this and this. But you see Andy Reid right there with the Super Bowl deal. Kansas City's obviously going to be favored again, probably to win it. When you've got a guy like Patrick Mahomes who does the things that he does, he's got a tight end that's the leading receiver on the team. They've got a young running back. They had Clyde Edwards-Helaire from LSU, and then he got kind of banged up. And then they take a guy late in the 7th round, the Pacheco guy, and he comes in. He does well. They've got a really good O-line that's kind of stayed together, hadn't had any injuries. You look at it, you got Chris Jones on the defensive side of the ball, George, that he had 15 and a half sacks last year. He can push the pocket from the middle. You got Nick Bolton, who led the team in tackles. They're an all-around team, and it seems like every year they reload. I think they lost Juju Smith-Schuster, but they've still got Marquez Scantling. So they're going to go out and get another wide receiver. Anybody that plays there wants to play wide receiver, and they know that they're going to get the football, but they're just one of those deals where it's kind of like the New England Patriots that's won 6 Super Bowls and they're 8 tries getting there. They're just one of those teams that are very successful. Andy Reid deserves everything that he gets because he's such a good coach. He's kept the same guys around. I was with him in Philly, and he's got a lot of the same coaches there. There's so much continuity within his staff. He knows – we talk about David Cutcliffe being a quarterback whisperer. Well, Andy Reid's kind of the same thing. He started out in San Francisco with Bill Walsh, and he had Joe Montana and Steve Young there. He's always had a really good quarterback going to Philly when he had Donovan McNabb. So he knows how to do it. He's been there. He's done it. And I would say they're probably, which I don't like. I mean, everybody don't like that much success, but Kansas City's probably the odds-on favorite to win it again.
What people forget last year in the playoff run, remember the Jacksonville game when Patrick Mahomes hurt his ankle?
Yeah.
Chad Henne came in, led them on a 97-yard drive, which shocked everybody. And then, Mahomes pulled kind of the, Willis Reed act, showed back up in the second half, played against Cincinnati, looked like for the most part he was able to get things done. But, I mean, that's a hard thing when your quarterback's not 100% and you still win. Whew, that's pretty good.
A huge game like that. And Chad Henne had played for a long time. He's been in the league for a long time, and he's been with a lot of teams. But they obviously had trust in him. He came in, and he did what he's supposed to do. He led the team.
So a year ago, Buffalo looked like a team that could win it all. But, Kelly, they got matched up with Cincinnati at home in Buffalo and got their clock cleaned. And I'm kind of curious, what do you think they learned out of that to say, okay, next year we've got to do X, Y, Z, or we've got to add X, Y, Z? What do you think that is?
I don't know, George. I'll be honest with you. They had such a tough time, and everybody was talking about they were the best team in the league last year to begin the season, and they were a shoo-in for the Super Bowl. But that's why you play 17 games as they play now. You've got to there's a lot of things that go on. You can get some key injuries. Josh Allen could have gotten hurt. But Cincinnati just went up there in the snow in Buffalo and just took it to Buffalo. And I said this a couple of weeks ago, but Buffalo was so good there in the year, but then Cincinnati started taking it to them, and then, hey, they puckered up a little bit, and then Josh Allen kind of gets out of what he's doing, which I still have a problem with. I wish you would take kind of a Joe Burrow deal where he just takes what the defense gives him. You don't have to go for the big play all the time. I feel that that's the way Josh Allen plays the game, and whether you can alter that, I don't know. It's going to take a little bit of more experience and a little bit of wisdom with getting older, playing as long. For him to come into that stage of his career, but still got a really good team. Von Miller got hurt last year. They had Leslie Frazier's the defensive coordinator. I was with Leslie in Minnesota. He's kind of a base guy. He wants to get pressure with the up front guys, and when they lost Von Miller, it kind of took away a lot of the sting that the defense had. So Sean McDermott, the head coach, has taken over the play calling this year. they still got a lot, George. They really do on offense. They got Josh Allen. I worry about the thing that I worry about with him, other than taking the big play, is the amount of stress that he puts on his body during a game, because he's not afraid to run. I think he was the second leading rusher on the team last year, and he puts his body out there. He's not afraid to try to run over guys. And in my opinion, I know he's a big guy, but we've heard Herm Edwards talk about it. If I had a quarterback like Josh Allen, I would tell him, get as much as you can and let's conserve your body and not get hurt. Slide as much as you can, but he's a competitive guy. And when he's got to go get a fourth down play, there's a time and place for everything. At the end of the game, when you got to go win it, you got to put your body out there. But in the first quarter, no need to do stuff like that. So he's got to learn all that. Hopefully they can get over the hump this year, George, because I'm a Buffalo Bill guy. Still got a lot of guys I know up there. I'm a real good friend with the equipment manager up there. I love him to death. And I want those guys to do well. They've been there 4 times back in the I guess it was the 80s, early 90s. I can't remember
Jim
now.
Kelly era.
Yeah, the Jim Kelly era with all those guys. They had really good teams, could not get over the hump. I'm a Bills guy. I want those guys to succeed.
Okay, in Cincinnati, they're saying a lot of the same things, Kelly, and there's no doubt they've got a lot of weapons. But it seems like the next step is to get the home field where they host Kansas City, right, as opposed to having to go there.
That's huge in the National Football League. We've talked about that. I don't know how big it is in other sports, but in professional football, it's really big because the crowd can play such an integral part in that game with being loud against the offense. So you're absolutely right. Cincinnati went to Kansas City a couple of years ago and beat those guys and was able to get over that hump and get to the Super Bowl and got beat by the Rams. They went last year to Buffalo and did that. But you're absolutely right. Getting home field advantage throughout is what they've got to do. And, Zach Taylor's been kind of preaching that. But you look at those guys in the picture right there. Those 3 really good football players, and T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, and Joe Burrow. They're kind of they're the huge part of that team. They're the big 3 like you had back in Dallas a long time ago. And then you look at those guys on the edge defensively. They got Hendrickson outside, and then they got Sam Hubbard. They've got the Wilson kid inside. They can get pressure on you. They're really sound on defense. I love their defensive coordinator because he brings pressure all over the place. They've got guys in the secondary that can make plays and make interceptions. So really the thing that they've got to do, George, is keep that team together, because they just kind of kicked Joe Burrow's contract down the road for just a year. So he's going to be coming up, and what's that going to do to the team? So they just might have this one window where they can get over the hump, and if they can get over the hump, it would certainly be better if they had home field advantage.
In the NFC, it feels like Philly at the top and then everybody else a tier down if Jalen Hurts continues to be as good as he has been.
Yeah, he was really good last year, George. As you know, I've talked about it a bunch on this show, that guy works his tail off, but when he was in college, he used to aggravate me so bad. But he's worked on that stuff, and he's learned how to become a pocket passer, and he's really accurate with the football. And I mean, I think he had 45. He accounted for 4,500 yards. I think he threw for 3,500 to 3,600 yards last year, and then ran for 700 and something. So the guy is hard to cover. You look at A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith right there in the background. Those 2 guys can get open. A.J. Brown, obviously people down here understand what the Tennessee Titans had, and they let him slip away. So really good offensive line-wise, really good defensively, George, with the guys that can, they can get pressure on the ball. They've got 3 guys with a bunch of sacks. They can do it all over. Their complete team, kind of like Kansas City. They're complete. That's why they made it to the Super Bowl last year. And if Jalen Hurts can stay healthy, we all know all the things that he does in the weight room to keep himself healthy. But if he can keep getting better and learn even more to stay in the pocket and make throws from the pocket, and then when it does break down, he can make things happen with his feet. It's just tough if you're a defensive coordinator. I'm sure when you're playing the Philadelphia Eagles, they have to take some Ambien at night just to go to sleep, George, because that's tough, because you got a quarterback that can not only throw it, but he can run it too. So it's just What do you do on defense? Do you have a spy for him? Because if you have a spy for him, then you're going to have to take some coverage out of the secondary. And that's when you got guys like Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown and the Goddard guy that's at tight end, presents a lot of matchup problems for you. So I think Philly will be in it next year as well.
Okay, the team that's the obvious next to Philly would be San Francisco. Kelly, when I look at them, they're going into training camp through no fault of their own with quarterback questions.
Right.
Brock Purdy, what's his health? Because if his health is fine, he was better than anybody else. But they've also helped me, Sam from Carolina.
Sam
Darnold.
Trey Lance.
Yeah.
Trey Lance. Yeah.
I'm not buying Trey Lance, I'll admit. When I've seen him, I don't think he's an accurate enough thrower to be a 17-game NFL starter, but I could be wrong. It just seems like for a team that's that good, there's too much uncertainty at the quarterback position.
Yeah, but they got 3 guys that can play, I think. I think Trey Lance, I think the litmus test is still out on him because I don't think he's played enough. They drafted him from a small school, obviously, but they had a lot of confidence in him coming in. He's been, Jimmy Garoppolo was going to sit last year and he was going to play, and then he ends up getting hurt. But you look at those 2 guys in the background right there, Christian McCaffrey, who came on, he got traded from Carolina, and then Deebo Samuel, which I think may be the best player in the National Football League. He didn't have the greatest of years last year, but he can go back in the backfield. He can run the ball. You can put him out in the slot. You can put him out at wide receiver. He does so many things. You look at Kyle Shanahan. He's a carbon copy of his dad. He wants to run the football. That's what he wants to do. Everything stems from the run, but I'm with you. They've got to figure out what they're going to do at quarterback. You've got a guy in Brock Purdy who nobody thought much of, Mr. Irrelevant, and then comes in and he leads them to the NFC Championship game against Philly and then gets hurt. So you don't know how he's going to come back from that elbow injury and having surgery. So there's a lot of unknowns, but then you look at the defensive side of the ball, George, and you still got those guys that can play. You got the Nick Bosa's of the world, and you got the Tayshaun Gibson who had 5 interceptions. You got linebackers that can run. They put pressure on the quarterback. They really make it tough. If I'm a quarterback, I'm staying up. I'm gonna have to take me some Ambien if I have to play them the next day because they do so many things defensively, and they can win games on the defensive side of the ball. And that's really, I understand that the Nick Sabans of the world understand that you got to score now and you got to score 1 more point than the opposition. But if you got a defense like the San Francisco 49ers had last year and they're going to have this year, that just gives you an added plus of getting back to where you want to be. If they can get that quarterback things figured out, they'll be in it with Philly next year again.
Kelly, the obvious dark horses look like an LA Chargers, a Baltimore Ravens, a Miami Dolphins, and JETS in the AFC.
Right.
Of those 4, who do you believe makes the biggest rise?
I don't know. We got to see how Lamar Jackson comes back off this injury for Baltimore. Baltimore's always going to be competitive, obviously always going to have a really good defense. It's going to be interesting to see what the JETS Jets do with Aaron Rodgers. They've got some weapons offensively. They got some young guys on defense. They got the Williams brothers. One played at Murray State, one played at Alabama. I think Quinnen Williams had 12 sacks last year. So they're really young. They're really good. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out this year. The Miami Dolphins, can Tua stay healthy? Can Tua stay on the field? He was having a really good year last year. He's got some weapons outside. They, too, have some guys on defense that can rush the passer. They can get after it. So I don't know, George. It's going to be interesting to see because there are a lot of teams that are really, really good, those teams that we talked about. But you got those second-tier teams like you're talking about that have the same kind of deals. If you look at the players they've got on their team as some of the top 5. So it makes for a really interesting season. It makes for a really interesting run to see who makes the playoffs and can guys stay healthy. That's always the trump card. Can you keep a team healthy Can you keep the guys that you need on the field healthy? That's always the health of a team is the big question that nobody can foresee, coming up. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, but it should be a really good year.
Kelly, in the NFC, the dark horses seem like you'd start with Dallas. The Giants were really good a year ago. Can that continue? To me, the one that everybody better pay attention to, and for the first time, there's pressure to deliver in Detroit. Of those three, who do you think's the most likely to break through?
I think probably Dallas. I think Dallas, because Dallas got a really good O-line. Their defense is really, really good with Micah Parsons. They can rush the passer as well. They've got some really good linebackers. They've got the Diggs kid outside who you can match up. You heard Coach Cutcliffe talking about that's why they pay corners so much money, because they can match them up and they can play coverage somewhere else. It's kind of the Deion Sanders effect when you got a guy out there who hey, just give me who I'm supposed to cover and I'm going to go cover him, and then you can play coverage to the field. So I think Dallas probably has all the makings. It's just going to be interesting to see how Mike McCarthy does. I think he wants to run the ball obviously some more, and he's got the offensive line that can do that. Can Dak Prescott not turn the ball over like he did last year? Because in that league, turnovers are so huge. They cause you to lose games. You know that. And my college coach always said, as a quarterback, you can never win a game by yourself, but you can win one all by yourself with turning the ball over, with the fumbling the ball in the pocket or throwing interceptions. I'm looking forward to seeing how the Detroit Lions play. I'm kind of become a fan of the Detroit Lions with Jared Goff getting let go by the Rams, and he goes up and he's found a home with the Detroit Lions, and they kind of kicked it into overdrive last year and won a bunch of games in a row. And can they get over the hump? Aaron Rodgers is obviously gone from Green Bay, so that kind of puts that division up in the air. So I kind of like the Detroit Lions and where they're headed, but they've got to do it. They've got to make the playoffs, and they haven't done that in a while. So it's going to be interesting to see. But out of those teams that you showed me, I think that the Dallas Cowboys probably have the best chance.
How about the timing there of Detroit with Rodgers headed to the Jets out of the division right as they, would like to have Rodgers out of their division?
Couldn't work out any better. I mean, the timing couldn't have been better. Absolutely. No.
And I'm not, they could have won that division, I think, if Rodgers is still in Green Bay, but it makes it a lot easier. You don't have to deal with him at all when you're trying to win that division.
Yep. It's a nice problem. We'll go to the break. Speaking of problems.
Real quick, George.
What do we got?
We can tease it. There's some news, and it's not official yet, but Sam Rothman, TV reporter in Knoxville, she's hearing that the Vols game has been pushed back to 8 o'clock Central Time tonight. So
really, is that a weather deal?
That's weather. There's bad weather rolling in Hattiesburg.
Okay,
right around game time. So I'll keep tracking that and see what the official word will be. But that's the word on the street.
Okay, we'll go to the break, and then Plaster Bet of the Day is next.
How am I going to get to work? My car's totaled.
Skylar, our team is making a call right now. We'll get you a rental car. Don't worry.
That's a relief.
Call us 24/7. We're here. We're going to help.
Year number 2 of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night was awesome. And the reason is really simple. I chose Strike and Spare, and they were amazing. They have great food, great bowling, and a staff that is truly ready to go the extra mile to help you. They have 5 family fun centers in the area to choose from. And for more info, go to strikeandspare.com or call them at 615-824-5685. Now that the weather has gotten considerably warmer, there's not a better place to spend a morning or an afternoon than Riverside Golf Lanes. So you've probably noticed the weather has gotten a lot warmer, and that means a couple of things in Nashville. It means baseball, and it really means golf. And for me, it's a visit to Riverside Golf Links. The course has improved dramatically. There are now 27 holes, including a 9-hole executive course. If you want tee times or more information, Dial them up at 615-847-5074.
You can't see the sights without the sounds. From the crack of the bat to the roar of the crowd and everything in between. Discover what Hit City has to offer. Single game tickets are on sale now.
Hello, this is Celeste Middleton, a State Farm agent in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. I want to help my neighbors and local businesses be proactive and assess their risk before something unexpected happens. We want you to have a thorough understanding of your coverages to have the best protection when you need it. We can create a personal price plan for you. Our team has over 70 years of experience helping people in Middle Tennessee. We have an awesome team with integrity and provide honest and prompt communication, and we love what we do and genuinely care about everyone we work with at our office. Give us a call at 615-895-2700, send us a message at celestemiddleton.com, or walk in at our office at 803 North Thompson Lane in Murfreesboro. We would love to earn your business.
Welcome back in. It is time for Plaster's Bet Today, presented to you by the good folks at Bart Durham Injury Law Firm. They are, simply put, the best in the business. They are lawyers you can trust. So give them a call at 615-242-9000 or log on to bartdurham.com. Just a few hours away from tip-off game. I guess this will be 5 of the NBA Finals. Denver looking for their first championship in franchise history. This past weekend, George was 2 for 3. It was a good weekend. He's back above 500.
Oh, yeah. We're going to go up. Well, I don't know about it. I'm a little queasy about this one. Look, Denver is going to win an NBA title tonight. I think most of us believe at home that they're going to take care of business. But Miami is talking a lot of pride, a lot of, you know, we're built for adversity. We're going to get it done. We're this, we're that. Okay, I'm going to buy into a little of it because this is a team that had no business even getting to the NBA Finals. I'm going to take Miami tonight to cover. I don't think they're going to win, but Kelly, I do think they're going to cover.
I tend to agree with you, George. I really do. I don't think they're going to win, but they could. They won the last game in Denver, but they could. So they do have a lot of pride. They need next year. Obviously, they need another score. Got to get somebody down there. But this game right here, I think Denver probably wins it. But +9's a lot, and I don't think Miami is going to allow that to happen. So we'll see.
It looks like they're going to play Tyler Hero a few minutes tonight. I think this is more to give him the confidence when he gets to the offseason that it's all going to be okay with the hand. In the regular season, he was that scorer for them that right now they're really lacking. That's even more of the miracle of them getting as far as they have. Anyway, we're going to take a final break. And then if you're watching live, we're going to show you the Hattiesburg, Mississippi radar to take it a little farther as to why there may be a weather problem over there. So stick around. We're coming back.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonleyTimmons.com.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank and Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank and Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank and Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Family owned and operated for more than 2 decades, Alaco Fine Wood Floors is Nashville and Middle Tennessee's choice for premium quality hardwood floors. Since 1995, Jimmy Alaco and his army of employees have embodied the approach of taking pride in one's craft and providing superior customer service, growing from a one-man shop to a team of 23 professionals who share the founder's passion for quality craftsmanship and customer satisfaction. If you are interested in contacting them, you can find their headquarters at 2505 Winford Avenue in Berry Hill, or give them a call at 615-356-0303. Again, that's 615-356-0303, or log on to AlacoFineWoodFloors.com. Alaco Fine Wood Floors, serving Middle Tennessee's hardwood flooring needs since 1995.
At Baird, we have a different slant on global financial advice. That global capabilities mean nothing without personal attention. We have investor relationships in 35 countries and market expertise in over 40 industry verticals, all to help make the most important investment connections of all, yours. Global financial advice with a client-first approach. It's the shape of things to come. Discover the Baird difference at BairdDifference.com.
Hey, thank you for meeting with me today. The insurance company has made an offer.
Already? How?
They've offered you the entire policy.
Thank you, Blair.
You're so welcome.
For those of you who are watching the show live, it's 3:43 Central Time, and the Tennessee game down in Hattiesburg against Southern Miss, the do-or-die game that will get the winner into the College World Series, scheduled to go off at 5 o'clock. But, Billy, that's where you sort of kick in.
Yep. As of right now, we are in an inclement weather delay in Hattiesburg. Their baseball Twitter account just tweeted out they will provide updates as they become available to them. As you can see on the radar, it might be a little tough to see, but that big glob right there kind of to the left is headed to Hattiesburg. And so that'll be there right around first pitch. And it's a lot of rain. There's a rumored report out there from a local Knoxville reporter that the game has been pushed back to 8 o'clock. Again, nothing official as of right now, but the only thing official is that they are in an inclement weather delay. So I doubt it does not look like this game will start at 5.
What time is the Stanford, Texas game scheduled?
7 o'clock Central.
So what they're thinking is to maybe stagger them by an hour.
To where you have them sort of going on at the same time. My guess would be this Tennessee game ends up starting around 8, maybe 9 o'clock Central.
Yeah,
so and
we'll just sort of wait and see.
Could be a late night. The latest time they can play it, I heard, is 11 o'clock.
Yeah, I believe that's an NCAA rule. However, as we have learned, NCAA rules are made to be broken.
True.
As we've seen.
Kelly, guess what?
What's that, brother?
I will not be with you for the next 3 days.
Thanks. It's great.
Yes.
We'll get broadcast excellence. We'll get broadcast excellence from Billy and David and myself.
How do you feel about Billy taking over? What's your confidence level?
I'm pretty good with him. He just
that was arousing.
The good thing about George, you actually tell me what's going on in the show. Billy gives me nothing.
Yeah,
maybe that's better.
You think? Yeah, you think maybe that was a little hint?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he didn't. Maybe he doesn't want me on the show with him. I don't know. But he gave me nothing that day. And I'm like, okay, so Billy, it's like 12:30. Like, who are we having on today? Can you please let me have a little bit of input here?
Don't let Billy fool you. He doesn't read the lineup. He just sends it my way.
I was busy having a colonoscopy, which is a very moving experience.
Yes.
And you never got him information on what was going on the show?
Well, to be fair, Kelly wasn't clamoring for it either. So
what do you
because
mean by
George
that?
gives it to me at 8:30 in the morning, so I'm good. So I just figured Billy's going to be professional. He's going to give it to me. So at some point during the day, like 12:30, I was getting like, are we having anybody on the show, or is it just going to be me and Billy talking
tomorrow? Kelly, we've got Tony Basilio at 2:20 and Jeff Hem at 3:00. So there you go.
Okay, thank you.
So you're ready to roll.
It's great,
Kelly. Good luck.
I'm sorry, George.
Listen, any problems that there may be, write those down in your TPS reports and send them to me.
Oh, I will. Now, the question is, will you do anything? Because I think you're one of those guys that probably just pushes it to the side. You're like our government. If it doesn't benefit them, they just push it to the side.
And have a happy vacation to you as well. Kelly, behave.
See y'all.
See ya. Billy, do good. David, do good. For 3 days, I don't care.
Thanks, George.
You're welcome.
That means a lot.
We're all behind you. Winter ties.
Oh,
See you tomorrow. Sorta.
I noticed the lights were on and I thought you might be home.